Hey guys, welcome back to another video from Hoops Empire. In today's video, we're going to be discussing Celtics forward Sam Hauser and how he can have a huge impact for the Celtics this year. Before we start, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. The Celtics obviously made a flurry of moves this offseason and are virtually unrecognizable from years past, aside of course from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. The addition of Kristaps Porzingis and Jrue Holiday also spelled the departure of heart and soul Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, and Grant Williams. The Celtics are no doubt a force to be reckoned with, having a top six of Tatum, Brown, Holiday, Porzingis, White, and Horford. However, the main topic of discussion of any weak points the Celtics have is the bench, and frankly, it's warranted. Through 10 games so far, the Celtics are an amazing 8-2, with the starters averaging 95 points per game, good for second highest in the league, as well as a league-leading plus-minus of 12.7. The bench, however, is currently averaging the second least points per game in the league, with the fourth worst field goal percentage. There was obviously going to be an aspect of this to consider, speaking that the Celtics' top five is debatably better than any other in the league. However, it will be important for the bench to shape up, as injuries are always on the horizon and the starters won't play all 82. Peyton Pritchard, who's had a couple bright spots this season, is averaging 4.7 points in over 20 minutes per game, on a dreadful 30% from the field and 20% from three. Oshae Brissett, while showing some hustle and grit, has been borderline unwatchable offensively, averaging 2.2 points on 17% from the field and 11% from three. Guys like Jordan Walsh, Lamar Stevens, and others are barely getting any run, and likely for good reason. However, one bright spot to the bench has been the sharpshooting wing out of Virginia, Sam Hauser. Sam, so far this season, is averaging 9.6 points per game to go along with just over 3 rebounds, shooting a scorching 47.5% from beyond the arc on 6 attempts per game. He is currently sitting at 14th in the NBA in total threes made, with as many or more threes than notable shooters such as Tyrese Maxey, Klay Thompson, Zach LaVine, Michael Porter Jr., Tyrese Halliburton, and Kyrie Irving. This is all while playing the least amount of minutes in the top 40 of total threes made. If nothing else, you can typically count on Hauser for his shooting. He's had his cold stretches, but in his now 3-year NBA career, he's shooting 42.7 on over 430 attempts. Of all the players in league history with at least 400 three-point attempts, Hauser ranks 11th in three-point percentage. Just unreal shooting to begin his career. His floor spacing is a key contributor in any lineup the Celtics put around him. He's becoming enough of a respected threat from deep that he's opening up the floor for the rest of the Celtics. He serves as an excellent drive and kick option for any Celtic, as well as a solid option to find out of the pick and roll with Tatum, Brown, White, or Holiday. One connection that has proved to be a deadly one is Jason Tatum and Sam Hauser. Hauser seems to have a good idea of where Tatum wants him to be. Per NBA tracking, Tatum has thrown 394 passes this season, resulting in 32 assists. Of those 394 passes, just 14 have gone to Hauser, third least on the team, only more than Brissett and Cornette. On the flip side, Hauser accounts for 6 of Tatum's 32 assists, second most on the team to Jrue Holiday at 8. Meaning, while making up only 3.5% of Tatum's total passes, he accounts for nearly 1/5 of his assists. All non-Hauser Celtics have shot just 38% from the field off Tatum passes, but Hauser? He shoots a staggering 75%. Those Tatum in the bench lineups has always been elite over the last few years, with Tatum and Hauser lineups specifically faring quite well. This season, per NBA tracking of two-man lineups with at least 80 minutes played, Tatum and Hauser rank 7th out of 596 duos in net rating at 30.3. When on the floor together, they put up 122.3 points per 100 possessions offensively and allowed just 92 points per 100 possessions defensively, both of which would rank number 1 by a long shot among team ratings. Obviously, these numbers will come back down to earth at a certain point, but if you think this is simply outlier games in a small sample, you couldn't be more wrong. With hundreds of minutes of sample size over the past 3 seasons, that duo of Tatum and Hauser has a net rating of plus 11.8, posting an offensive rating of just over 121 points per 100. The only two-man lineup since 2021-22 featuring Tatum that is better than that, based on net rating, is Tatum and Derek White. Having the ability as a role player to mesh so well with the team's best players is an attribute any team looks for in a player. The Celtics have enough scorers and ball handlers as it is, so having a guy who is so efficient with his touches is amazing to have. Per Basketball Index, Hauser is in the 95th percentile last year in overall points per possession, sitting at just under 1.2. The majority of those above him were rim-running centers who shoot just about the most efficient shots in the league, being dunks or lobs. Being a three-point specialist on the list of top points per possession players in the NBA is pretty special. He's averaging 0.4 points per touch this season, with an average possession time of just 1.2 seconds, one of the lowest in the league. He's the definition of efficiency. While his offense is superb in those aspects, another point of emphasis that makes Hauser more impactful than many would think is his defense. As Coach Joe Mazzulla stated, Hauser is a better defender than most people would think at first glance. He's shown the ability to hold his own against a lot of players, being consistently targeted in isolation and often coming out of it with a forced miss. Over the last 2 seasons, Hauser is allowing just 0.88 points per possession in isolation on nearly a 100 possession sample. Within that, his opponents are shooting 35 for 76 from the field, or 46%. And while that percentage is not that bad, the volume of attempts in such a short amount of possible possessions often drags down the opposing team's offensive rating, as 0.88 points per possession is not exactly a very high efficiency offensive game plan. Teams have been and seemingly will continue to attack Hauser on that end, and honestly let them. Little do they know that they are often just doing more damage than good with plenty of wasted possessions. His ability as a decoy, both offensively and defensively, is something not many role players in the NBA today are able to replicate. Celtics Twitter has coined the term Hauser Island, and it seems to be for good reason. Teams view him as a shooting specialist that is likely only out there for that exact reason, and time again choose to throw away any offensive scheme to just go at Hauser in isolation, and time again, those results are not all too great. That plays a role as to why, with thousands of minutes of sample size over the last 2 seasons, the Celtics' defensive rating with Hauser is 2.5 points better per 100. It's no secret that Hauser has been an excellent bench piece for the Celtics over the last year or two, and will likely continue being as such. I'm not expecting him to make nearly half of his threes for an entire season, but as long as he can keep spacing the offense, hitting timely shots, and playing his solid isolation defense, I think he can be a serious game changer for the Celtics this season, and for many more to come. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed, comment down below your opinions on Sam Hauser and his potential impact for Boston, and subscribe if you haven't already. But most importantly, have a good one.